Welcome to your Success Tonic. If you're ready to explore what it would mean to step into your boldest, most exciting vision of success, then you're in the right place. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. I'm so happy to introduce our guest, Erika, who is a dynamic leader and a passionate advocate for mental health in the workplace. As the Vice President of Client Support and QA at Relias, Erika brings a wealth of experience to the table, but her passion for helping others extends far beyond her professional life. With 8 rescue pets and a heart of gold, Erika embodies compassion and kindness in all aspects of her life. So today we'll be diving into her journey of navigating the corporate world, the importance of finding your authentic voice, and why mental health awareness is so critical in today's society. So welcome, Erika. I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So I am very inspired by your story, and I would love for you to share with the listeners, how you came to become an advocate for mental health in the workplace.
Sure. So it's actually a personal story. I myself have struggled with mental health for years. I have, uh, gosh, I have PMDD, I have major depressive disorder, and I have social anxiety. And I always joke that makes me, fun at parties. But really, it's, just growing up, kind of dealing with that. It's something that I felt like I had to hide or had to, fix to be able to be successful in life. And it's so common, and it's one of those things that people don't talk about enough. And I think a lot of folks, especially now post-pandemic, are experiencing some type of mental health, and they don't really know how to handle that and how to deal with that and what that looks like, especially in the corporate world. And so while a lot of companies are trying to come up with different ways and having, mental health days and different employee resources, it's something that's still a little bit new to a lot of people because it's something that was always, almost taboo to talk about at work.
Oh, yeah.
So it's something that, just having gone through it myself, I want to make it feel more comfortable for folks to address it and not be scared or feel like it's something that you have to be ashamed of.
Oh, I love that. I feel like it's, resonates so strongly with me because I do think that it's by sharing our experiences and our stories that we can destigmatize and we can allow other people to realize that they're not alone, that they can find connection points in our story that resonate with them and that, can provide hope or a new way of thinking about things. So I do think it's so important. So thank you for doing that and for bringing awareness in the places that you work. I think that's true.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. It's uncomfortable still a little bit just because of the response that sometimes you can get from doing
Absolutely.
that. So I post a lot on LinkedIn, and I get mixed reactions. I get a lot of, thank you, I'm going through this too, and I didn't, know anybody else was doing
Mm-hmm.
that. So I get a lot of positive feedback, but I also get a lot of, oh, I don't know that I would have put that out there, or,
Right.
that's something I don't know that I would share. And so it makes me second guess myself a little bit, but that's why I feel like I need to do it, because so many folks do experience it. If I've already put it out there, people already know, so it's not going to be a surprise. So if I can continue to do that, I hope that it makes other folks feel a little bit more comfortable sharing their stories too.
Yeah. I think I do. I think it's that's how we drive positive change in the workplace and in our communities and our families. So yeah, I think we do have to share the struggles as well as the good bits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how has this journey with mental health brought you to focus on authenticity and why it's critical to our happiness?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, I mentioned earlier, I felt like I had to hide a lot of that because it was something that it was a huge point in my life. Going through some of the depression was a really big chunk of my life. It was one of the reasons why I'm in North Carolina now, but I moved down here And, because of that, I felt like I had to be this perfect something. I felt like I had to hide my flaws to be this, perfect employee or person or whatever it might be to be successful in the corporate world. And I felt like I didn't always fit in, even though, I was doing what I felt like were the right things to do. It just never felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I always second guessed myself and my position and just, everything because it wasn't me. And so over the last year and a half or so, I really started sharing more about my story and sharing more about my, struggles with mental health and just who I am as a person. I think just different, tidbits you mentioned about, the pets and everything, that's a huge passion for me. So just sharing more about the things that are important to me have made me feel more comfortable. And it has helped me to attract people and things that are more in line with who I am and what I want. And it's helped me kind of shed some of the maybe relationships that were a little bit more obligatory or, just kind of there because we were just going through the motions. And I feel
Mhm.
like being authentic has opened me up to experiencing things that I really want to experience and that are, it might seem a little cheesy, but that are like aligned for me. Like the universe is like, okay, this is what you want because this is who you are, and this is something that we want to offer. And I feel like that has helped me to be more comfortable in my own skin and my job and my personal life. And it's been really kind of an eye opener to just shed the fake skin and just be myself. And I feel like that's been a huge game changer for me.
Mm, mm. That's it's definitely not an easy thing to do,
No.
sharing about ourselves, sharing personal details, even something like having 8 dogs. It's not something that we're kind of that comes up or that's easy just to kind of talk about, especially in the workplace or work context. And yet, like you said, it allows us to create these connection points. And so, yeah, I think it's extremely important thing that we're moving towards as a society and in the
Mhm.
workplace,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I love that. I love that. That's where we're heading. I feel
Yeah.
like everybody felt like you had to kind of fake it till you make it before. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the pandemic, but just something cracked and people are starting to come out and be more comfortable. And I love it.
Yes, me too. Me too. Yeah. I guess, and I think you're right. I think, there's just like this big wave of change that's just coming through, and it's definitely changing how people relate as well as how we do things and how business is done. So I think it's
Oh, yeah.
really great.
No, you're right.
Um, so in your opinion, why do you think people have felt so pressured to um, conform to an idea of success that's kind of created for them externally, as opposed to um, things that we connect to more internally, for that are fulfilling.
That's a good question. I don't know why we do it, but I feel like it's just part of society. Society has kind of outlined this expectation of what you should do. You go to work, you climb the ladder, and you do the things to move up, move up, move up. And not doing that almost feels wrong. It almost
Mm-hmm.
feels like it's the bad thing. If you're like, I don't know if that's what I want to do anymore, it feels like that's a bad thing to say because, you're stifling your opportunities or,
Yeah.
it's just not what we do. You don't go to work to, that's just not how we do it. And so I'm not sure why it's like that. It just feels like it always has been. So it feels weird to go in and try to be authentic because most corporate jobs and things, there's an expectation of, quote unquote professionalism
Yeah.
that we talked about things changing. That's changing a lot now too. Like what's professional now isn't maybe what was considered professional 3 years ago. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that it's changing because it's more flexible and it's, I think, allowing more folks to be seen, as professionals. But it's just something that has always been that way. And so it's been
Mm-hmm.
hard to shake that for a lot of people. And I think it's hard to accept and present your natural self in an environment that feels almost at times a little sterile.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in the past, we were expected to sort of put the professional and the personal in really different categories and keep them very separate. And you had, a work persona, and at home you could be yourself, but you didn't necessarily, depending on what kind of environment you were in, didn't necessarily feel comfortable really showing up as your full self in the workplace. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether hairstyles, tattoos, different
Yeah.
things like that, like just clothing styles. Like I don't love wearing
Mhm.
a business suit every day. I love, right now I'm wearing comfortable pants, while I'm sitting here at my home desk, and I have tattoos. I have visible tattoos if I'm not wearing sleeves, and I think that's something that people are starting to accept a little bit more,
Mhm.
different hairstyles and things.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I think it's great to see more people being authentic. I know it's kind of a overused word, but I think it's great to see people being themselves at work and having it be totally fine.
Yes, and I feel like it's also a path to embracing more diversity. If we don't all
Yes.
try to conform to a very strict small model, then we can show that there's lots of different ways of being
Mhm.
professional, of showing up as yourself, and then we can sort of open doors for more diversity through that. Through kind of opening people's perception of what's good.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So, do you have any um, do you have any advice around some effective strategies for building meaningful professional relationships, particularly in the settings that you've been working in?
Sure. Really what I've done this past year is I've spent a lot of time on LinkedIn.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things I did recently, and it's how you and I ended up meeting, was I started doing coffee chats. I turned 40 this year, so I wanted to do 40 coffee chats before my 40th birthday. And
Love it.
through those, I people introduced me to other people, like, oh, you should really meet this person. She's really great at this. And then I met, this person, and then they're like, you should really meet this person because
Mm-hmm.
they have this that's really aligned with what you're talking about. And so I've gotten to meet folks that I didn't even know I was setting out to meet through this. And so it's been really great to just go out on LinkedIn if specifically and just post about the things that are important, whether it's your, professional passions, if it's things that you like personally, you will find folks who are aligned with those, and you start to have connections and then they have connections that, they introduce you to, and it really has just built on itself over the past year. And it's something that even if you're not comfortable, I was never super comfortable networking, very
Oh,
introverted, really shy, and face to face, especially group settings. And so it was really overwhelming to put myself out there at first. And so, I talked about some tips around starting small just by engaging with other people's posts, so liking them, and then eventually just commenting on it, something simple, and then maybe adding more of a thoughtful comment, and then maybe posting your own content or sending a DM to somebody, but really building on it. So it's step by step. So you're not super uncomfortable. You don't have to jump in, full force right away, but just baby steps until you get to where you want to be. But just you
mhm.
have to kind of put yourself out there as the thing. So take that little risk, find this is, I think, a safer way to do it than to jump into something in person. But,
Yeah.
go out online and find people that maybe you admire or that, you've heard about or that and just connect with them or follow them and start to engage with their followers. And it's a really great way to meet like-minded people, but also folks that are not maybe like-minded who help you to grow and find different
Mhm.
ways to think about something or different industries. I've learned about things I didn't even know existed as jobs over the past year. And I think it's exciting to just
Yeah.
see what is out there that you're not getting exposed to when you're at home.
Yes, yes. And I think that that's been my experience as well. And I think it's the magic of this online world is that we can connect with people so beyond our geographical area or even our own um, uh, um, business connections, right? That we
Mhm.
can expand so far beyond that. And I think that really does allow us to grow, like you said. Yeah, for sure.
That's exciting. It's really
Yeah,
exciting.
it
It's a
truly.
little nerve-wracking at first if you're not used to it, but once you start doing it, I think It's really rewarding. I've found some really fantastic people over the past year that I really feel, I've learned a lot from, or I've gotten help from, or that I've been able to help. It's been really great.
Mm, yeah, I think I've had similar experiences, just people that I've met online have actually become really good friends and really great connections. And I value that so, so much. So it's lovely to hear that you and I have had a similar experience in that way.
Yes.
So what would you say about, has your definition of success evolved over time? And if so, why?
It has. It has. Growing up, I honestly, when I was little, I thought I was going to be this really like high-powered lawyer in a big city, wearing business suits all the time. And I don't know why, because I hate wearing fancy formal clothes all the time. I don't want to live in a big city. So I have no idea. But just even over the past, 5, 10 years, even more recently, I always thought, like I mentioned earlier, climbing the ladder, you take your
Mm-hmm.
next step, you keep moving up, moving up, moving up. And right now, I recently talked with my manager, and I shared with her that, I would love to, I'm a VP currently. I would love to maybe move up to a senior VP, because I would still get to stay over the same functional area that I work, with and I love. But I don't know that I want to move up higher than that I want to continue to move up into, executive level or C-suite, because the work-life balance at that point isn't what I want anymore. And so,
Mm-hmm.
a few years ago, maybe even before I was married, I thought that I would, I'm a bit of a workaholic. I would spend all my time working and I enjoyed it. But now I love my job, which I'm very lucky to say, but I also really love my downtime. And I love being able to spend time in nature, which I don't get to do if I'm at a computer, 12 hours a
Right.
day, 14 hours a day. And so for me, success has been really not so much about my title and about career growth as much as it used to be. It's more
Yeah.
about what can I do for other people. So, I love coaching and developing my employees and really helping them to grow. And so at first it was really scary to share that, because I felt like I was going to lose opportunities.
Yeah.
But then I was like, are these opportunities that I actually want?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Like, I'm worried about losing an opportunity that I don't actually want anyway. And I was worried about, what if the people who report to me start to pass me up and they surpass me in my career? And I'm like, why is that a concern for me anymore?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like I don't want to do that. So why does it matter if they do it? And so it's been a bit of a shift thought process wise, but
Yeah.
my success, definition has changed to being more about a better balance and being happy. Like, I just want to love my life. And a lot of that comes from, animals and having some downtime to spend with my wife and just being outside and, not
Mm-hmm.
having to be at a desk all day. And so it has shifted a lot, over the past recent years, but it's been interesting to see kind of the change.
Yeah. It is really interesting to see how that sense of fulfillment changes. That we think it's going to be one thing, and then as circumstances change, as we change, it starts to become about something else. And
Mhm.
I'm really curious, does this shift in any way also go the other way? Do you feel like by prioritizing more your your personal fulfillment, time with your dogs, and your wife, do you feel that that has influenced and impacted your work in any way?
Oh, honestly, yes.
Uh-huh.
I've noticed recently that I don't feel maybe as, I mean, we're as competitive. Like, I have a bit of a perfectionist personality. Like, I want to do well and I want to be a high achiever, and I don't know that that will ever go away. But I don't necessarily feel as competitive, and I feel more at peace. If this sounds really, corny, but I just feel like at peace in my role, doing what I'm doing. I feel like I am meant to be in this spot right now, taking on the opportunities and the challenges that I'm taking on, because I feel like I'm the right person to be doing that. And I don't know how to explain it, but the people that I have reporting to me, I love them very much as humans, and I love being able to help them and solve the problems that we're solving and moving forward. And I feel very, very I don't know what I want to use, like, but confident in that. I just feel really good. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I don't feel like I have to be doing more and more to get somewhere else. Like, I
Mhm.
feel very like this is okay that this is where I'm at and this is where I might be for another couple years or so. I love this and I feel like I have a lot to contribute to this. And it's nice to not feel like what's the next step? What are the next three steps? I'm like, I don't know yet, if there are next steps, but I know that what I'm doing, I will continue to grow and learn, but I don't necessarily have to keep climbing to do that. I can still grow in place and help others. And that's really, I think, what my passion comes from and my fulfillment is helping
Yeah.
others and, helping other people grow and find theirs. And if they do surpass me in their career, fantastic. Like I'm really happy that I was able to help them get there, and so
Mm.
that's been a shift where before I was like, oh, I can't let them pass me. I have to keep, we have to keep moving together. And no, we don't. If that's where they want to go, then I want to help them do that. But I also just am happy where I'm at. And so it's been interesting because it feels like I have just kind of a new perspective at work, and it's a
Mhm.
little bit more of like a calmness, I guess, at
Mm.
work. And so I just like I said, it feels like it's a very like this is my purpose almost.
Wow. What an amazing way to feel. It
It is
sounds
nice.
amazing. When you describe it, you seem calm as well. You radiate calm and confidence as you talk about it. So it's
Good, good, thank
yeah,
you.
it's clearly you're in a good place, and I celebrate that for you. I think it's phenomenal to
Thank
have
you.
come here. Yeah.
No, I'm really happy. I'm grateful for, my professional contacts. I'm grateful for my personal contacts, especially like my wife, just the support that I've had. But I've done a lot of, kind of soul searching and deep thinking, over the weekend. I'll do some meditation, I'll color,
Mhm.
I'll do some journaling and just spend some time just processing, really thinking about what is it that makes me happy? What is it that I want to do and whatnot? And so I'm like, are the things I'm shooting for aligned with those things? And if the answer was no, I'm like, why am I trying so hard to do those if that's not actually what makes me feel fulfilled? And so it's been really nice to take that time to, identify with myself. And I think a lot of times we go through the motions. You kind of like, here's what I want to do, and you just keep going and you don't really
Yeah.
take a step back to say, am I happy with this?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, like, why am I still doing it? Is this the right field for me? Is this the right job for me? Or are there other things I could be doing outside of that? Like maybe the career is fine, but do I love my hobbies? Like
Mhm.
I'm getting what I need. And so it's been really nice to take that time to focus on it and feel like, yeah, like I feel aligned with all the things I'm doing right now, professionally and personally. Like I feel like I'm in a really good spot, and I'm really grateful to say that because I don't know that I could have said that, 10 years ago. And so I'm like, wow, it's nice. It's nice to be
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, it's also a great accomplishment. It really is to get to that place. So, do you have any advice for someone maybe who's, if, let's look back 5 or 10 years from where you are now, someone who's there now. Do you have some advice for them?
I think just really take the time to think about it, and I think sometimes it can be scary to look inward because
Hmm.
you might find that you're not happy or that you don't like what you're doing, maybe even sometimes who you are, like how you're acting. You might not like that. And it's scary because that's a big change, and it's uncomfortable if you aren't comfortable in your own self because you're with you 24/7. And so I think a lot of people, you tend to put it off because it's emotional work. There's, it's effort that goes into it, but it is hard. But there are resources out there. So, definitely counseling and, friends, people, there are outlets to use to kind of help. But I think really taking the time to think about what it is that makes you happy, what
Mhm.
gets you out of bed in the morning. Like if you could do one thing for the rest of your life, like what would that thing be?
Mhm.
And it might be a hobby, it might be your career,
Yeah.
but are you doing that thing? And if
That's
you're
a
not
great
doing it, why are you
question.
not doing that?
Yeah.
Like what makes you happy? And if you're like, oh, I love hiking, but I never hike, like, why are you not hiking? Like, get
Hmm.
out there, go do it.
Yeah.
And if you're like, I absolutely hate hiking and I do it every weekend, like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Stop, like go find, if you just want to sit and read a book, like sit and read a book, like that's okay. So just really figuring out what it is that you like and want to do, and then
Yeah.
take baby steps to get there. It's not like an overnight switch, but it really does require you to do some self-reflection, and that can be a little scary at times, but it's super worth it. If you
Mhm.
really hear yourself and allow yourself to follow up on what you've discovered, it's really beneficial.
Mm. Mhm. Oh yeah. Um, so I'm wondering if you have a book in particular or a resource that you read somewhere along on your path that you really loved and would recommend.
That is a fantastic question. And the answer is yes, but I cannot think of what it is because it's been a lot of them. And it's
Hmm. Hmm.
so for me, what I'm one of those people, like it's snippets of books
Yeah.
that I've read. It's not so much like this whole book was fantastic. It was like this one quote from this book
Hmm.
really resonated. And so it's been a few from different things. And so I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I will tell you the answer is yes. And if I can think of them, I will send them to you so that you can
Okay.
look at them. But that's kind of my whole like model of everything is I take snippets from people that I admire and I use like how they do their
Mm.
one-on-one or how they handle difficult
Mm.
conversations. And I'm like, I love how they do this and I love how he does that. And then I try to see how I can take that and make it my own and incorporate it. And so I feel like I'm just like this amalgamation of everybody that I've learned from, or that,
Yeah.
good and bad. Like, hey, I don't like how that person did that, and I don't want to do that myself. So I've tried to take snippets from TV shows sometimes. If it's books, it
Mm.
might be music, but just little things where I'm like, okay, that's what I want people to feel when they think about, having worked with me as like their leader. I want them to feel like I help them as much as this person helped this person,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
that's little things like that I use as kind of a motivator.
Mm. Like that.
That was a
Yeah.
very long answer. I'm sorry for to
That's
tell you,
okay.
like,
No,
there's not one specific book.
okay, well, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to have a specific book. It's all good. Well, thank you so much, Erika, for sharing your journey and the insights that you gathered along the way and how it's, forming your decisions and the way you show up in life and work. I'm sure that listeners are going to want to be able to follow up with you. So can you let them know where they can find you online?
Sure, LinkedIn is where
Okay.
I spend most of my time on social media. So it's Erika R. Taylor-Beck
Okay.
on LinkedIn.
And that link will be in the show notes for anyone who wants to just click and come and connect with Erika. Well, thank you so much again, Erika, and to all of you listening. I am so glad we were able to have this conversation today, and I hope you all have a lovely week. Hey, have you taken the Success Archetype quiz yet? If not, head on over to storytonic.co to take the quiz and discover how to leverage your unique profile to step into your next vision of success.